Welcome back, Covie fans. With the upcoming Halo TV series set to release within a week of tomorrow, we were given a brand new trailer, and boy, there's a lot to talk about within this trailer. But before I break down all the new Covie stuff that we got in here, I just want to give you my general thoughts on the trailer. Basically, it's a huge improvement from the first one. The soundtrack just sounds way better, it sounds more Halo, and while I admit there could be a little bit more improvement as to using the original soundtrack, I honestly had no problem with it, and I'm honestly looking forward to the series. And with that in mind, let's break down all the new Covie stuff that we got from the trailer. To start off, in the first shot of all things, we get our first clean shot of a Covenant battlecruiser. When I first saw this, I initially thought that it was a CCS class battlecruiser, given the design pattern and the glow of the lights within the hull, but Eckhart Slatter on Twitter mentioned that this ship is a little smaller compared to a CCS, and compared it to an RCS. Now for those of you who don't know, the RCSs were the cruisers employed by Julian Dama's Covenant in Halo 4. They were the predecessors of the CCS line before being supplanted by said ship. And with that, I'm starting to lean towards that this ship is in fact an RCS, though I could be wrong and this is just a CCS class cruiser. But we'll have to wait and see for a silver debrief or an actual explanation within the show. Next up, we get a pair of elites storming through a human settlement within Metricol. And yes, this is Metricol from the Cole Protocol. For those of you who don't know, Metricol was a human colony world that was glass early on in the Covenant War. Its survivors would flee to the rubble. It is also here where the Kigyar Reth assembled an Ungoi army at the behest of the Prophet of Truth. But in here, within the Silver Timeline, Metricol is still very much alive, at least this section of the settlement where the Sangheili are attacking. And within this shot, we get a good look at some of the Sangheili ranking structure within the Silver Timeline. If you look closely enough, the two elites flanking the big one are clearly minors, both of them sporting blue coloration in their armor. And the one in the middle is clearly either a major or an officer, given the red coloration of his armor and potentially the helmet design. And you can tell that the major and one of the minors is carrying a plasma rifle. There's not much really more to say about this, only that the Sangheili look absolutely spectacular. I was a little iffy on the Sangheili armor designs from the first trailer, but these elites definitely have me sold. Next up, we get Silver Team chasing after a Covenant spirit while evading Covenant drop pods. These drop pods are from Halo Reach, as you can tell by the design pattern. On a side note, I'm wondering if we'll see high-ranking elites popping out of these pods, as in the lore, those who come in those pods are zealots or those aspiring to be zealots. In the following shot, we see Master Chief chasing after a spirit dropship. This dropship appears to be sporting the Halo Reach style variation, the T-52 class spirit. And it seems like it's either landing or it's making a swerving maneuvering pattern. Not really more to say about that, it's just something I noticed. And we can see more of these drop pods in the distance. If I were to venture a guess, this entire scene seems to be concurrent to the Battle of Metricol as we saw in the previous shot, given that in the final shot of the trailer, Silver Team is dropping onto the same planet. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see. In the next scene, we see Maquis leading a group of Legolo worms as they cut down UNSC soldiers. And it's pretty clear that this is the same scene that we saw her storming the Gladius in the previous trailer. I'm really digging how terrifying they made the Legolo here. I mean, the Mecha Legolo in the games were intimidating, but these just look like an overwhelming swarm. Given that the show is rated MA for mature, I'm really curious what these wormy creatures have in store. But the highlight of this trailer, for me, is the next shot, for we get a first clear view of a Sanshayun prophet. And not just any prophet, this seems to be one of the hierarchs that we saw from the previous trailer. One of the three hierarchs that were attending Maquis and another Sangheili commander within High Charity. This Sanshayum just looks pure ugly, and I love it. And it confirms the leaks that we got last year of the same Sanshayum. Now when I first saw this, I initially thought this was the High Prophet of Truth, but the coloration of his robes seemed to be lefting more on the High Prophet of Regret or Mercy. I'm more leaning towards Mercy given his milky eyes and gray hair, at least in terms of his brow. And it seems that they threw away the ornamental crowns that we saw in the core games, rather they wear a more ceremonial tiara as an ornament. That personally doesn't really bug me, but it's something I could see other people having problems with. But all in all, I'm fully invested in this Sanshayum design. It just looks perfect, in my opinion, to what a Halo live action show should have for a prophet. And to close things off, we get Chief and Silver Team on board a Warthog evading Covenant Banshees and the Covenant Cruiser. And if you look in the bottom right, you can clearly see that this Banshee is sharing more of the Halo Reach style variation of the Banshee model. When I first saw the Banshees in the first trailer, I originally thought that there were going to be a mix between the Halo 5 variation of the Banshee and the Reach style. But I'm glad the producers decided to lean towards Reach style aesthetics. But that's my thoughts on the Halo TV series trailer and the breakdown of what I got from the Covenant side of things. Like I said in the beginning, I'm so invested in the show, I'm very much looking forward to it, and I love this trailer. But what did you guys think? What was your favorite shot? What are you looking forward to seeing the most within this show? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time guys, may the Forerunners watch down upon you all. Victory to clan and kin, Covenant fans. Covenant Canon, out.